My son will inherit everything. His affair baby will receive absolutely nothing. My name is Emil, 26, and I have a 5-year-old son. My ex-husband, 29, cheated on me with his coworker, Bethany, 28. I was 2 months pregnant with our second child when I found out Bethany was going to have his child. I miscarried. My ex left the house to be with her. It's been 2 years since it was born. My mother-in-law has been supportive of me and has nothing to do with my ex or his mistress and their child, up until a few months ago. I adore my in-laws and we're extremely close. My mother-in-law and parents are the best of friends. She loves me and her grandson more than anything. This infuriates my ex-husband's affair partner. My in-laws cut contact with them straight away. Bethany was jealous that her child would never know the love of grandparents. At least her son has a father. This brings us to the problem. Unfortunately, my mother-in-law has been very ill for a while, and so she's updated her will. My ex-husband was an only child, so he would get everything. But now, my son will inherit her house, villa, and money. I will receive a large portion of her money and all of her belongings. Until my son turns 18, it will be in my trust, and if I pass before that, my parents will take care of it. They do not know this. You know, it's so refreshing to see the mother-in-law take the daughter-in-law side. You would think it'd be common sense to push away the cheater, right? Even if it's your own son, but a lot of people have a hard time because it's their kin and their flesh and blood. They're like, I'm going to stick by my son, right or wrong. But I have so much respect for this mother-in-law for taking care of her grandson and her daughter-in-law. That's so sweet to see. I love good mother-in-law stories. Okay. The thing is, once they caught wind of her being ill, my ex-husband begged for forgiveness. The mistress started being nice towards her and forced her to be around his baby. She used to start fights with mother-in-law and called her horrible names before. My mother-in-law is bedbound, but she says she wants to leave with a bang, so she'll endure this. I haven't encouraged her to do anything, and this is her choice alone. They want her money, and her son thinks he is still included in the will. He also thinks his child will now be acknowledged by his grandmother and will also receive money. Now, my mother-in-law hasn't actually said she's forgiven them. She despises her son and his mistress for tearing apart our family. She wants to reward those who deserve it and get revenge in one go. The mistress keeps on hinting on how her child will grow up and attend a great college, etc. Money-involved things whenever she's around mother-in-law. Actually, mother-in-law's niece, my cousin by marriage, has overheard her on the phone discussing what wallpaper she wants in the dining room when she moves in and how my mother-in-law has no taste whatsoever. She also mentioned how she'll finally be able to take down pictures of my son when my ex owns the house. Ew, disgusting. Too bad for her, it will belong to my son. No changes will be made until my son becomes 18. It's his grandmother's home and he should be allowed to cherish it in the way she's decorated it. I'm not really allowed to tell anyone, and though this revenge will be satisfying, I'll have to lose my mother-in-law. It's kind of a win-lose situation, and I dread the day when she'll take her last breath. She means a lot to me. I love her. She wants this for her grandson and has said that she cannot rest until she knows her son and his mistress have been punished. She wants this because her childhood was also ruined because of her father and his affair partner. She wants my son to know he was loved and he will always be loved. I hope my son will always value the great woman in his life. I wish she had more time with his grandmother. So she has an edit because apparently some people are angry at her for not asking her mother-in-law to include the affair baby in the will. So this is what she says. As for those who are angry at me for not asking mother-in-law to include my ex's new child, I cannot do anything about that. Yes, I am happy and that's selfish, but I'm going to put myself and my son first. That contributed to my miscarriage and one of the reasons why my son has not had a father for over 2 years. I can't change my mother-in-law's mind about them. I do pity the baby, but it's not up to me to fend for it. It's not my responsibility. I've tried talking to mother-in-law, but she's had her whole childhood ruined because her father had made his affair child his top priority. This is why she wants nothing to do with it or her son. My ex knows that his mom went through so much because of cheaters, yet he decided to do the same to her. He has seen his grandfather favor his aunt and uncle over his mother. If this happened to you, you wouldn't be so happy about sharing yet another thing with the baby. Thank you again for those who have listened to me, and I've read out the nice comments to my mother-in-law, and we've had a great laugh together. The mistress would send me photos of her ultrasound after I miscarried, either to me or my family. In the first envelope, she sent a letter full of the nastiest things about me, my son, and my miscarried baby. She'd even tagged me on social media on an account I didn't know about. It was an invitation to her baby shower. She has done plenty of disgusting and hurtful things to me regarding my miscarried baby. The people who are coming at me in the comments would not be as civil as me if anything like that happened to them. Ignoring her child is honestly the best option. I do not want my son to grow up with her son. And to those who are insulting and saying rude things about my dying mother-in-law, you are truly disgusting. Listen, if I was in that situation, why the hell should I have anything to do with my affair baby? Ew, no. When my child is older, I would give him the option if he wants to have a relationship with his half brother. That's up to him. But no, you're crazy if you think I have any sort of financial, emotional obligation to a child that my ex-husband cheated on me to have. Bye. Am I wrong for deciding not to attend a wedding? I feel like I'm eating crazy pills because the situation feels surreal, but it's actually happening. And I'd like a perspective on it. Real names change for privacy purposes. I've had a friend, Clara. Is it Clara or Clara? I'm gonna go Clara. I've had a friend, Clara, and we've been close since we met. She is struggling with some mental health issues, and I've always been there for her and helped her out where I can. We also share a lot of our personal lives and stories with each other. Early last year, I met a guy, let's call him Brad. Brad was quite alright, and we hit it off as we had a few common topics we shared. Making new friends was always a good thing, and I wanted to introduce him into my circle of friends too. Unfortunately, Brad and Clara got into an extremely heated argument. It was something completely dumb to me. Something about whether a gun would defend you if the attacker had a knife or sword, but had the element of surprise. It escalated so bad that they were calling each other terrible names, and I was shocked since I had never seen either of them act this way before. They parted on extremely bad terms despite my best attempt at brokering the peace. Over the next couple of days, I tried to talk to Clara and get them to make up, but she was adamant about the situation being final and even gave me an ultimatum. Either I break off all contact with him or she will break off contact with me. I gave her another 2 days to cool off, but there was no change. I valued her and knew her longer, so I reluctantly chose her. I was candid with Brad, explained the situation, that I had nothing against him. No, that is such a that's a really bad manipulative friend. This reminds me of Love is Blind. She does this often when her mental state worsens and shuts herself in for some time. I sent a few messages to check on her well-being but didn't get a reply. This time was much longer than previously, but I thought nothing of it, having given her the option to come back whenever she was ready. 2 weeks ago, she returned after several months and announced her engagement to Brad. What? Ew! Ew! That is so shady. Ew! Ew! I'm sorry, that sucks. 2 weeks ago, she returned after several months and announced her engagement to Brad, then invited me to her wedding. After getting over my shock, I asked why they were together. She said he was there for her when he went through a tough time and he was her world. Ugh, shady friend, I hate this so much. I turned down her invitation and said I would not like to attend. She got upset and said that I should put my differences with him aside. I said I had no differences with him, it was her I had an issue with. She told me to cut him out, then went and got engaged to him. I feel like I was made to be the fool. Since then, her friends have been hounding me, saying I should get over myself and stop being jealous, and that I was never in a relationship with Brad in the first place. I feel like this isn't about Brad at all, but everyone seems to disagree. So, am I the asshole for turning it down? Dude, no, you need to get yourself new friends. They are all trying to gaslight the shit out of you.
Am I the asshole for letting my 4-year-old use all of his money to buy everybody else meals and gifts while we were at Disneyland?
That's so cute. You just wanted to spoil everyone?
Let's see the story.
Okay.
I took my kids to Disneyland Paris for a week with 2 of my friends and their kids. My oldest is 4, but he gets a monthly allowance from his dad that he can, in theory, spend on whatever he wants. The allowance was my husband's idea because I told him he was spoiling our son, but I personally don't think this is the best way to teach him about money.
Mm-hmm.
While we were there, my son kept wanting to use, quote, his card to pay for things. And even though I tried to explain to him that his money would run out, he kept insisting and saying it was okay. When his money ran out, he told my husband over FaceTime because he couldn't get the toy he wanted. My husband was really upset that I had let him use all of his money on other people, especially since he spent it on food. He told me that wasn't what his allowance was for and didn't want to listen when I told him he was the one who said our son could use the money on whatever he wanted.
Right.
He told me he was going to put more money on the card and was insisting I let our son buy the things he wanted, and got angry when I pointed out giving him more money was to find the whole point, especially since I was planning to go back and get him the toy anyways. Am I the asshole?
It's a little philanthropist.
What a kind soul.
I know. I don't think she's an asshole. I think she wants the best for her kid, obviously. But I think the solution here is to like have a conversation. And it's so funny because I feel like I'm not a parent, but just like what I've been exposed to, it seems like so much of like raising kids is based off of like behavior therapy almost, instead of just having respect for the child and understanding that like in many ways, like adults are still children, and in many ways children are adults. Clearly, like if they're behaving in this way. And I just think to at least start there and to maybe ask the child, why is this something that you want to do? And exploring that and getting an understanding of the personality and values of the kid, and then moving from there as opposed to just trying to like stop or start behavior. But I don't know. What do you think?
I'm really torn on this one, and I haven't read any of the comments yet. I'm like sitting here. I'm just like, I literally Google movies before they end. So I'm just like, I'm dying to read the comments. It is like interesting because it's like, okay, if this was an older child, I would immediately be like, no, not the asshole. You're teaching him like money doesn't grow on trees, financial responsibility, all that jazz. So I'm like, okay, if it was an older kid, I'd be like, no, not the asshole. But the fact he's 4, are you exploiting your kid to then pay for like your friend's food and stuff? Right. But at the same time, like it's your husband's money, but also your money kind of in a sense. So I don't even know. I'm kind of in the boat of just like everyone sucks.
Yeah. And it's also like is the message that will be received that it's not good to be generous, or that people will only value you if you are paying for them? It could go one of two ways.
God, yeah.
Which is a big risk.
Am I wrong for ignoring my soon-to-be stepmom when she called me the wrong name? I'm female 16 and my name is Andy. Just Andy. My mom's dad passed away a few days before she found out she was pregnant, and my mom was very close with her dad. His name was Andrew, but he also went by Andy. The technical female version of Andrew is Andrea, but neither my mom nor dad liked the name, so they chose Andy. My parents got divorced when I was 8, and while I still live with my mom most of the time, I visit my dad every other weekend. 3 years ago, my dad started dating his fiancée Kate, and for some reason when we met, she assumed my name was Andrea. And ever since I corrected her, she still continues to call me Andrea.